Who's ready to hear an inspirational weight loss surgery story? That's why we're here. Today we're talking to Mona. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Good. Good. So excited to sit and chat with you. So you're from Chicago.
I am.
Yeah. So we're kind of different time zones. I'm in Italy.
You're in Italy. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I've
So
been there.
I think I'm 6 hours from you, but I
Okay.
have a flight in the morning. We're heading to Germany. So I'm just going to stay up because I have so much to do. But so I'm so excited. Well, first, I'm so glad to have you and chat with you today.
Thank you
Can
for
you tell
having
me
me.
a little bit about you?
I'm from Chicago. I personally am just a crafty person, fun, easygoing, love just to kind of meet new people and talk. And I got my VSG on November 11th, just recently.
I saw that.
And I've kind of been overweight most of my life, more in like the curvy side. But in my 20s, or not even, probably like in my late teens. So it's kind of before I knew I had PCOS, I just kind of ballooned and I didn't know why. But later on in life, it gets harder and harder to try on your own. And I've done a lot of different things. I've done keto, low carb, and that's probably the best, like, quote unquote, diet lifestyle that's worked for me. But even with that, it's just been hard to lose weight. So this has been such a great journey. I've loved it.
Well, and with PCOS, I don't think you can lose weight, can you?
My highest was 390 and I got down to about 340, 345. That was like where I plateaued and I just couldn't lose anymore. My body didn't want me to lose anymore. So when I originally talked to my doctor at the consultation, he said, if you were to do every single thing right, eat 100%, work out this many times, etc., you could probably get to 295, like 300 yourself without getting surgery. But at some point, your body is just going to resist it. So going through the bariatric route, he said, and for me, it's not a weight thing. Wherever I feel more comfortable within my body and just like feeling healthy,
Mhm.
that's my goal. But ultimately, he said I can probably get to about 220, 230. I'm 6 feet tall, so I'm pretty
Yeah,
tall
I
and
saw that. Yeah.
raised.
What does that feel
Um,
like to be that tall? Because I'm
for me, it feels normal, but
I'm 4'11", so
oh,
you're the opposite end of me. So man, what does that feel like?
I think it just feels normal to me. I feel like everyone always looks up to me,
Yeah.
but most of my friends are much shorter. And it's funny seeing pictures where like my friends are up to my shoulder and it's
Yeah.
just normal for me at this point. I'm
Yeah.
never afraid to wear heels and just kind of embrace it.
You gotta flaunt what God gave you, girl. Flaunt it. Wear the heels and just gotta do you. So you struggled with the PCOS. Did it did you have other symptoms with the PCOS?
I didn't have too many. I know a lot of people suffer with like the hair and all of this. I do have cystic acne, which is controlled now about a year, almost going on 2 years. I started a prescription of spironolactone, which helps with the progesterone in your male hormone. That's what causes the cystic acne. And that did wonders for me because I had really bad acne, mostly just on my face and neck. Luckily, I didn't get it on my back or my chest area or anything like that. I've met a lot of people who get that hair gain and in between the legs and stuff. And I was fortunate not to get that, but the weight has been the biggest struggle for me, that and my acne.
Oh, I know. I've heard PCOS is just what's the word? Debilitating, I think, for a
Yeah.
woman. It's hard to deal with
I mean,
that. Any hormonal imbalance is tough
yeah.
to have to go through because I was like low on estrogen and progesterone. Progesterone, how do you say it? Progesterone?
progesterone. I
Progesterone,
don't
yeah. And
quite know.
so it's tough. It affects a lot. Like I couldn't sleep. I had a hard
Mhm.
time, like so many things. Like it just affects your whole system, I think.
Yeah,
So your surgery was November the
11.
11th. Wow. So you
Mhm.
are not even a month. No, you're a
Just
month and a half.
no,
A
yeah,
month and a
just over a month, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
A month and a half. Wow.
So
What
I
does that
just
feel
hit
like?
stage 4. It feels good. Honestly, I'm lucky to have as easy of a process as I had because I feel bad because it genuinely it hurts me to see people suffering and they're in pain or they're having mass pains or they're just having complications. And from what my doctor told me, my anatomy internally when he was doing the surgery was perfect. So it just was a good surgery. And the same day, it was hard for me to get out of that anesthesia. I probably just slept it off for a few hours. And then I was like, all right, I'm ready. I want to go for a walk. I need to like I was just burping and just getting rid of the gas and everything. But aside from that, the only pain I had was just the incision tenderness, trying to get up and move around a bit. No real pain that came with it. And there's people who have complications, and I think it scares people off from having the surgery. And I like to tell my friends, I have a friend, close friend of mine who's going to be getting this surgery in February, early March. And I told her, I'm like, I hope you have as similar of a process as I did, because for me, it's been quite easy. It's been a really great journey. I've been able to hold fluids since day one. I've progressed with food pretty well. I haven't gotten sick physically. I had dizzy spells and that kind of stuff, but that's just your body adjusting and readjusting daily. But it's been a really nice journey, and I've had so much help along the way and so many people caring and just asking questions. And it's funny because on online, it's such a great community. It's so big and there's people at all different stages. And I've had people message me and I answer them and I just give them whatever advice I can from my point of view. And they're just so at awe and they're like, thank you so much for replying. Like, why wouldn't I reply? And that's,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to be
Sweet. That's sweet.
so
Yeah.
thankful. I mean, it's
Yeah.
nice to get
No,
that.
I got you. Side note, I just thought of
Mhm.
something. I was talking to a doctor because I might have to get a revision for my VSG because
Oh
I've been
no.
having a lot of acid reflux and GERD, and
Hmm.
solid foods are just have always been hard on me since I started solid foods. But I
Hmm.
was talking to the doctor because they wanted to do like a documentary series on
Uh-huh.
someone from the beginning to their surgery and so forth. But I told her how tall I was, and she says, well, and she was explaining to me the difference between doing surgery on someone that's short, like I'm 4'11", or even like
Hmm.
5'2", like that's still short, compared to somebody who's taller, like 5'6", 5'8", or like 5'8" up. She was explaining that your anatomy is just, there's more room in there to
Hmm.
really do a good video, and everything's just sort of spread out and there's a lot of room and it's easy to get to everything. And just overall, you have a better experience. And I didn't know that, but that's
Hmm.
probably why you're doing so great is just your anatomy. You just, when you're taller, your torso's longer. So there's more room. So
Hmm.
I just thought that was interesting when you talked about how everything went really well. I was thinking about your height, but it could be
Did you
something
have
to
any
it.
like prior health conditions before the surgery?
Yep. I'm Hashimoto's, my thyroid.
Mm.
I have, I had breast cancer in 2011. I was obstructive sleep apnea. I had an umbilical hernia, like in my stomach.
Yeah.
I was severely insulin resistant for like years. And I never got diagnosed with PCOS, but I do remember having really bad cystic acne. I mean, like this was like 10 years ago.
Mm,
And I remember the doctors gave me that spirulactone, that
yeah.
medicine, and I had to go to my dermatologist to get it.
Yeah. Me too.
And I remember like, what is this for? I remember they put me like on metformin and I didn't know what was wrong or what was, they were trying to fix it, but I never heard
Mhm.
the word PCOS. But so I never really got diagnosed with that. But I'm kind of curious now that I hear stories about that, those medications. I'm kind of curious. Also, my BMI was like barely at 35. I was like 36 something, but I'm 4'11. So
Mhm.
my highest weight was 211, which is a lot for somebody at
Yeah.
my height. Yeah. And so just had nothing, I didn't have diabetes or anything like
Mhm.
super major, but just a lot of things that kind of disrupt, disturb a healthy lifestyle that
Yeah.
mess you up. Yeah. So,
So
did you have anything else besides PCRS?
no, I mean, luck. I really had good health for the most part. Aside from having PCOS, I did not have any health conditions that were really disturbing me. No high blood pressure, no issues with my heart, nothing, no diabetes. My mom had a heart attack 4 years ago, and that's really immediately I made an appointment to see my doctor and get checked out because that's so scary. She was at 99% clogged in a valve. And
Yeah.
if she didn't go to the hospital when she did, she wouldn't be here with me. And, you know, that my younger sister, she's 10 years younger than me, I walk into the ER and everything, and I'm just bawling because they tell me that, oh, they already took her to surgery. And my sister, who's 10 years younger than me, she's calming me down. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be the big sister. But I mean, that was something that, I've been trying to get to better health. And for the last, I want to say 3, 4 years, I've really been to, yeah, about 4 years. I've been eating pretty healthy. I mean, here and there, of course, everyone has something, but I was never a binge eater or just eating those types of choices. It's just my body was resisting no matter what I tried. And I mean, I have some asthma, like light asthma, and I have allergies, severe allergies. But aside from that, nothing internally wrong with my health. And that's
Well, the
also a
PCS alone is like,
yeah,
that's
it's
major. That's a
mm,
hormonal issue.
and I mean, it's hard because when I was rapidly gaining weight, I think I was about 16, 17, and at that point of time, I definitely know that my health choices were not well because I was with an ex-boyfriend who was kind of like more verbally abusive, mentally abusive. And he was the one choosing all our meals. Like I'd be like, I want chicken and broccoli. That's what I'm craving. Well, I want Popeyes and whatever. And you kind of get stuck eating what the other person wants to eat and making those choices. And it's kind of a shame, but that's when I really gained, I think, within a year, like 100 pounds. And I don't know if it was necessarily just with what I was eating, but that's probably when my PCOS spiked as much as it did, and like just really got me up there.
Well,
Um,
and it could be the high fat foods, but also just
mhm,
stress. I think being in a
yeah,
bad relationship is already a trigger for your body to
mhm,
just go down a rabbit hole of, because if you're not happy, you're stressed, you're not sleeping good, your
mhm,
anxiety, it's overall that alone would make you gain weight and
yeah.
not be rested. So,
And I mean, I see so many younger people, both men and women, getting this surgery, and I'm like, wow, they're only 21 or oh. And I remember looking into getting the lap band over 10 years ago.
mm,
And at that point of time, it was still new on the market. And I remember the insurance that I had at the time, just it wasn't covering that kind of procedure. And me and my mom went to this informational session and seminar. And as soon as we left, we found out that my insurance didn't cover it. And it was just such a bummer because my mom was the one who kind of brought it up to me. And the way she approached me was like, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to whatever. I just want to help you. And I heard about this thing. I'm like, I've heard about it too. And I've thought about it. She's like, well, if you want to look into it, I'll support you. If there's any extra expenses, I can try to help. And this is coming from my mom was a single mother of 3 kids and we lived in an apartment and didn't have much money and et cetera. But just out of the bottom of her heart wanted to truly help me.
She
And
wants you to be healthy and yeah.
exactly. And when I told her I was doing this, and she's always been one of my biggest supporters. And she was just excited and happy. And now even today, we talk almost every day and she's like, how are you feeling? How's this? How's that? And she's kind of concerned, like, are you kind of progressing? And I'm like, I feel good. It's like the best I've felt in a very long time. And so it's nice to have that support system. But I mean, these people who are doing this at such a young age and no, that's so great because you're improving your life and able to
Hold
truly
on.
live it.
How old are you? Because you look like you're 25. Like, you
No,
look young,
I'm 31. I'm going on 32 in February.
but that's still young. I had my surgery. I'm 5 months out and I'm 50. So
You are not 50.
I'm 50. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
You look
ma'am.
like you're about 30.
Oh my God. Thank you. You are my best friend. Thank you so
That's
much.
awesome.
Yeah, so I felt like I'm the same way. I wanted to do it when my kids were younger, but my husband at the time, his insurance did not cover it. And I think it was lap band because lap band was one of the first ones, or
Yeah.
maybe bypass was first. I don't know, but I remember lap
Podcast
band.
was more like I don't say the go-to, but it was like, that's the one. And then lap band came out and it was the new big thing and everyone was looking
It's
into
like,
it. And
yeah, that was the easier route than bypass because bypass seemed like so invasive, you know what I
invasive.
mean? And so everybody went for the lap band. And now everybody, and I was the same way. I thought of bypass, but I thought DSG didn't seem as scary to me. But yeah,
That's actually the same thing I went through because I originally thought I wanted the bypass. And then once I kind of did my homework, it's like, well, VSG seems like the route I want to take. And my doctor, after doing the upper endoscopy and all that stuff, he told me, he's like, it's completely your decision. You might have slightly better effects with the bypass, but I approve you for either one that you want to choose. So, I mean, I went the VSG route just because I didn't want those complications and et cetera.
well, and I just
Um,
think it's the security of knowing that if we have a complication with the DSG, we could revise up to the bypass. Or let's say you only lose 30% of your weight that you need to lose, well, you could move up to the bypass. Like
yeah,
if there's so much time goes by and you don't lose that weight or you like get stuck, you can move up to bypass. Or if we have complications like I'm having, we could move up to bypass because I never had reflex problems or
yeah.
anything like that before. So it's kind of
Like a
odd.
safety. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's a lot of the appeal of the DSG. Yeah. So
I know a friend as well who's currently 2, 3 months out, and she has to get the revision as well because she's having a lot of those reflux issues and not being able to keep food down.
well, let me
So, I
ask you a
mean,
question. That's interesting. Let
yeah.
me ask you a question. I'm kind of worried because I've already called another doctor, Dr. Joe Cribbins, which I wish I met him the first time, but I didn't. But he's amazing. But what's the process for someone that needs to get a revision? Because it seemed like to me, I'm going to have to go through another 6 months of counseling and it's going to be holy hell to get approved with my insurance. So, what was her experience?
So this is like very new. This was just kind of discovered, and I think insurance approved it because it's a revision and it's a medical complication, right?
Okay.
But I think the first time around she paid out of pocket, and I can send you her handle and maybe I'm sure she'd love to talk to you and do
Well, I'm
some.
saying, did she have a hard time showing proof of her medical complications? Because here's my
Well,
thing.
no, because she's been
I'm,
going to the ER a lot.
oh, what's she going to ER for?
I guess vomiting bile and just
See, I do that
and I
too,
don't
but I thought it was my fault.
mhm,
We have that mentality, like, I failed, it's my fault. So I've been like, maybe I'm eating too fast, maybe I'm not chewing enough, maybe I'm not waiting enough time to eat. I felt like it was my fault. So
yeah,
every time I eat solid foods, I like throw up.
like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, I feel like maybe I'm messing up or I'm doing it wrong. But
Mm,
at first, I thought it was normal. I thought, is
mhm.
this normal to people? Or maybe it was because I just started foods.
You said
And
you're 5 months out?
yeah, I was 5 months on December the 10th.
Okay. So, when did, I guess, the complications start for you? As soon as you
Um,
start eating?
well, wait a minute. I think I'm 6 months out. It was June the 10th. June, July, August, and October, November. So I'm 6 months out. Oh shoot, I thought it was 5 months. As soon as I started eating food, as soon as I started my food like you are,
Mhm,
being a month and a half out, that's when it started. I
okay.
just would eat and then little pockets of food. It's like I burp up, like
Like, it
it
comes
comes,
settle.
like it feels like it won't go down. And so little pockets of food comes up and it's like not right after I eat. It's like 20 minutes, like when it should already be down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then it burns and it's just like, oh, and then it's like 5 or 10 times of little throw ups. It's so gross, so gross. But
I
I
mean,
thought it
but
was
that's
my fault.
body, that's the nature, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
and
I'm so
so but
sorry.
I'll check on it. I mean, it happens. I mean, there's so many percentages of people get the surgery and this could go wrong or this could go wrong, and sometimes it just gets us,
Yeah.
we're that in that percentage, so it's okay. But I have an option. So what if I did the RNY or something else and there is no revision? So
Yeah.
but they say when you do a revision from this, it should take care of the issues.
Yeah. From what my
So
doctor told me, I mean, he basically said, if you do the VSG and, you're not progressing at a rate that is the norm for losing, or if you're not able to keep foods down, or, whatever the complications may be, if you have an extremely bad reflux, there's always the option to do the RNY and just kind of, it is the revision. It's to help with those issues. And he's like, I'm not saying that it's going to be immediate because we don't expect you to lose all the weight all at once and your body's going to be adjusting and et cetera. But if 6 months out, you kind of see that you're having all these complications and issues, it's an option. So, I mean, I'm glad that you actually have that option. That's
yeah.
good.
But I'm
But
so excited because you've lost how much weight? You've lost 48 pounds? How much?
actually 52 pounds now.
Holy shit balls. Oh my God. That's
I lost,
amazing.
thank you. I lost 30 before. So within the 2 months. And then literally after a month of surgery, after surgery, it was just under 20 pounds. So, I mean,
Honey.
it is so exciting. And I'm just now kind of starting to see noticing the little differences, the changes, because everyone kind of, if you don't see, like my dad, he sees me maybe once a week, maybe every other week.
Mm.
He's like, you look like you're thinning by the day. I'm like, I don't think so, but okay. He's like, right here. It's just like
You're
you can
shrinking.
tell
You're
from
literally shrinking. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. And you're
and I
young,
mean,
so that's good.
I do nails as like my side hobby, passion, love. Like
I
I'm a
see that
businessman.
behind you. The nails. Yeah.
So many different products and so
I
many
love it.
names.
Wow.
But so my clients, and one of them, she's a really close friend of mine, but I don't see her as quite as often as I'd like to. She's like, Monica, you look tiny. I'm like, no, you look like you're like just like little getting
So
thinner by the
excited.
moment.
I'm so excited and happy for you. I can't wait to
Thank you.
a year from now to see your pictures. I'm sure you've looked online and saw transformations and
Oh
things and
yeah.
the before and the after. It's like a total different person. And it not only takes the weight off, but it takes that heaviness of the struggle off, the everyday
Yes.
struggle that we have when we're overweight. It's like every day
I
it's
mean,
a
like
thought,
tying your shoes or something so
getting in a car.
small.
Hmm.
Yes.
Fucking.
The mobility that I've
Mhm.
gained and just the 50 pounds I've lost. And it's something that doesn't snap into your head right away, but you're like, wow, like I can bend down completely and my stomach's not in the way, or it's not causing me to feel like I can't breathe. I love to travel. And that's another reason I really wanted to lose the weight because if I could get paid to travel, it's exactly what I would do. I love to travel. I'd love to see the world. I love to immerse myself in culture. I studied abroad in Spain for a semester and I got to travel through Europe and that's just like something I love. And the discomfort of
Mhm.
having to sit in a plane next to someone, luckily it's usually me and my husband who travel, but if there's something, and I remember being on a plane and just having to like literally kind of squish myself because I didn't want to cause discomfort to the people next to me either. I mean, I'm wide in
Mhm.
the hips and wide in the shoulder, and I just sat like this. And after the 3 hour plane ride, I felt like complete shit. Look, there's no other way to say it.
I
My body
know.
hurt, and I felt so just uncomfortable because I don't mean to be in your personal space. I'm so sorry, but
Mhm.
some plane rides don't allow for that.
Yeah, I know that's
And
hard because it's a tiny spot no matter how big you are,
yeah,
because or how small you are. It's a hard, it's a, you only have this much, there's not a lot of room in a plane as it is.
yeah.
So I can imagine, and for your privacy too, because
Mhm.
then you have people rubbing up against you, and that's no fun either. So yeah, but
Now with
so what are some of your non-scope victories that you've already had so far?
that I've already had, definitely just being able to feel more comfortable in my skin. And I'm a very confident person. I love myself no matter what weight, no matter what size I am, etc. But just that energy that I've gained. And I have some gold pants and they're a size 12. I don't fit in them yet, but I know I will eventually, right? And I've taken videos and pictures and I should try on my wedding dress again because I tried it on and did like a spin and a video. And I just tried to document it as best as I could because
Oh my gosh, yeah.
there's nothing like being able to put on something that didn't fit you before or that fit you so tight. And now it's like, hey, there's a little room here. And I bought a size 16 jean. I was for the longest time, I've been wearing a size 18. I went from a 24 to about an 18. And this summer, I kind of gained a little weight. So I was more like the size 20 jean. The size 18 was just really tight and I felt like a sausage. But I blindly purchased a size 16 jean and I put it on and I was like, why is this fitting? Like that was the biggest 9 scale victory for me because I was like, I didn't expect this to fit me. And
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
still kind of like,
exciting.
yeah, that's just like that shock. Wow. Like, okay, everything everyone is telling me is really true, but you don't really see it in the mirror ultimately.
Mhm, mhm.
Side by side pictures are great. Like, I love seeing these face to face Fridays. And I think I've only done one, but I took a picture on Halloween. Me and my
So
husband
what's a
went to the
face-to-face Friday
so they
on
post
Instagram?
like their before and their current like
Oh,
face.
okay.
And I saw a picture, I was just kind of scrolling. I'm a picture person. I have like 50,000 pictures literally in my phone.
I need to
And
do
I
that
was just
next Friday and
scrolling.
find one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Uh,
cool.
I took a picture with my husband on Halloween, and it's not that long ago. But I just felt like I see my face so fluffy and just full and couldn't believe that was just a month prior. And I did the side by side picture and I'm like, wow, that to me is like such a non scale victory that you can actually see just small changes. It's not you're gonna lose 100 pounds overnight or something like that. But for me, it's more like the feeling, that slight bit of confidence you gain too. And I'm gonna be traveling for New Year's and I'm excited to see how that plane ride is, to take that second picture and even if I need an extender, how's that travel experience gonna be for me?
Oh man,
So
that's so good.
I think they come as they come, and you just have to embrace those changes and these non-scale victories because, that's more than what the number on the scale says. That the number on the scale doesn't change sometimes. I was on a 2-week stall, or I don't even think it's a stall. It's just your body's reacting and changing. But I could tell that I was losing inches. And I think it's important to take those pictures. And I think that's something people don't always do. But, you have to document it for yourself just to kind of prove it to yourself sometimes like, hey, this is where you were and this is where you are today. Be proud of yourself. Love that change. Love yourself for
Mm.
taking those steps to do it. And
Well, and there's even times where we don't really lose any weight because I started exercising and then I stopped losing weight. I don't know if it's because of the
gaining muscle.
GERD or
Oh,
gaining muscle or what, but I noticed that, but I did keep checking my measurements.
mm,
And so I'm definitely smaller, like in my bust size and like
the girls
I've
are the
lost
first
a
thing to go.
I've lost a ton of inches. So
Yeah.
yeah, they are. But well, mine are implants. They won't go nowhere, but they are. So yeah, that's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. The Some people lose it all in their breasts and that it happens. Some people like I've always had a
Ultimately,
big butt.
breasts are fat.
Yeah, I've had a big butt my whole life, so maybe I'll lose my butt finally. I don't know. But yeah, just those non-skill victories of even just people telling you, like even if you can't see it, it's sweet and it's so nice to know that somebody else sees you and they're in awe of it. So I think even
Exactly.
that's a huge accomplishment. Your husband noticed.
Oh, yeah, he knows. I mean, he
Yeah.
tells me every
Oh,
it's just funny because like, I was brushing my teeth or whatever, and he comes behind me and just, like, rubs my back, and he's like, "Oh, so smooth." I was just joking around and being silly, but it's like, "Really? You think so?"
oh,
I mean, even, like, the effects that I guess we're doing this for ourselves, and we have our whole set of things that we have to do in order, the way we eat, the smaller portions, the drinking, etcetera. But I've motivated so many people, and to me, that is, like, such a it's an extra motivator for me, but it just feels so heartwarming that it's, my friends who aren't big to begin with, I mean, they're skinny girls in my opinion, but it's like, "Oh, you've motivated me to eat healthier or to get more active or to do this or that," and it's like, that's awesome because 'cause you're doing something for your health, whether it's weight loss or weight gain, or we all have different end goals, but it's so awesome to actually, yeah, just kinda get that. I don't even know how to say it. It's just sweet to hear from people that
yeah,
you've done something for me, and I didn't try to, but I'm so glad I did.
yeah. It's encouraging to know that people can see you and know, like, wow, I'm going to tell my sister or my aunt that struggles or something, and they kind of pass it on. I think that's a good thing to happen. I think. So your mom, your whole family took it well about the surgery? Did you have a hard time with anybody in the family?
So everybody has been super encouraging. They're more so like everyone's reaction has been, "That's so awesome. I'm glad you're doing that for yourself. I'm glad you're taking the steps to improve your health, just for you to feel good about it." All my clients were the same reaction. I think the only people that, and not that it was malicious or in a negative light, but my in-laws were probably the ones that were worried, but they're just worry words about everything. So they were just concerned, like, are you going to be okay? Any type of surgery is a big surgery, right? So they weren't discouraging by any means. They're just like sweet. And my mother-in-law right away after I got home, she made a soup and sent it with my husband, and they're just sweet people. But I feel like that was the only, I don't know. And that's not even the negative, but I've heard stories. I feel so bad that people don't have that encouragement and that
Mm.
support system because I think that's super important. And whether they have it in their real life or whether it's through this Instagram community that we've found. And I was never, I didn't think that the community was as big as it is. And every single day I get follows and I follow back the weight loss pages that I see. If I can tell they're a weight loss page, any the messages and the this and the that. And it's like to hear different people's stories, it's so interesting because some people don't have that support system and they look to the people online and forming those friendships and community. And that's so awesome that we actually have that opportunity to do that because I did never, ever thought that it was going to be. This was just for me to document my journey and share with whoever wanted to see. But I've met so many amazing friends and people every day.
Yeah, yeah. We're having talking about community, we're having events. And so San Diego or Washington, what's by Chicago? Because we're
Um,
having it in San Diego, Washington, and Orlando. And then
Orlando
the
sounds
other three are in Texas. Orlando?
for Texas. I'm like
Oh,
central Midwest. So
oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah, yeah. So we're having them all over. So you can check on there. And
mhm,
one of the things we're doing is like inspirational stories. Like for San Diego, I have a mother and daughter that did the surgery. It's so
that's
sweet.
awesome.
And they have a beautiful story. In Austin, Texas, we have four sisters who've all had bariatric surgery and they've lost close to 500 pounds.
Wow.
It's beautiful. And in Dallas, we have Tiffany with Life After Fat Pants podcast. I don't know if you heard of it, but, and she lost almost 350 pounds.
Wow.
Um, yeah, crazy, beautiful stories.
It's
So
life
if
changing.
you're,
It really is.
oh, I know. So if you're near any of those, we're going to have some pretty amazing things and giveaways. And, but I'd love to hear stories. I mean, of course, I'm doing this, so I'd love to hear
Yeah.
other people's stories. And I think it's so inspirational to listen and to have that kind of, what's the word, that to see, to, to have that outlook and to be able to peek in on other people's lives and kind of get a feel for what they're going through. I think that helps us in our journey. It really does.
100%. It really
Yeah.
does. I mean, meeting people and just seeing the transformation videos they post or just the pictures or getting to know them through the messenger or by phone or whatever it is. And it's
Mm.
that outlook is phenomenal because you get to see like, this is a potential for me. And no two journeys are the same. No two people are the same. No two bodies are going to heal the same way or react the same way. But it's amazing to see the transformation that is possible through the bariatric route. I mean, it's not the easy way out. It's hard work and it's relearning how to live your life in the best possible way. It's a way that wasn't necessarily taught to us from our youth, from when we were growing up. And it's really awesome to have that second chance at life because that's the way I see it. This is my second chance at life and I'm not going to ruin it. I don't want to be weighed down anymore. I don't want to have those struggles that make things harder. I mean, like travel for me, there's just like different things that I want to be able to achieve and just feel healthy and be able to have that energy and be more active and to see other people being able to do it. It's like reassurance that I can do it too. And so can anybody else.
No, yeah. So let me ask you a question. So you're just now going to start solid foods.
I was just cleared to the sixth yesterday. So
So what's the first solid food you've eaten?
I
Eggs?
tried steak. No, eggs I've been eating
Oh,
because
you,
the puree stage, yeah. So
oh,
now I'm
eggs
like,
in a puree stage. Okay, okay. So you had steak. What was that like?
it was weird. It was almost like, I like this, but I feel, I don't know. I guess like for me, anything I've tried to eat that I can tell is just not able to be pureed in my mouth. That's the way I was explained to it. Chew to the point of puree. And like I was left with some tendon. And I mean, it's kind of gross, but I had to spit it out. But I got most of like the steak, the whatever part of it, and just whatever I felt like if I swallow this, I don't want to upset my stomach. I just spit it out. And I feel like that's just kind of the new norm is trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, because there's definitely been things that I've tried and I'm like, "Mm."
How did it
Actually, yesterday,
taste? Do you
it
have you
tastes,
tasted anything that's like, wow, that does not taste like I remember it?
yes. Yesterday,
Uh,
I got together with my husband and my best friend and her husband, and we made gingerbread houses. And it's just become a thing. Every year we just make gingerbread houses. And there was wine and there I made a charcuterie board and just whatever. And I had the smallest little glass of wine that was my favorite wine. I'm like, you know what? I'll try it. Like I'm not probably not gonna drink it, but to just
yeah.
taste it.
Yeah.
I was like, this tastes horrible. Like
Mhm.
this is like a wine that's kind of like a fresh, but still has like a hint of sweet to it. This tastes bitter to me. This tastes terrible. Like, I didn't want it. And so that was, like, my first thing that I have tasted that I'm just like, "That's not gonna work for me. That's gross."
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, there's some things that taste like medicine to me now. It's like, that tastes like
Mhm.
cough syrup or it tastes like, I don't know. It just, your flavor changes or something. I don't know.
I
Just
love
some things
coffee.
don't.
I was one person to drink coffee, like, just to drink it, not because I need energy or anything, but just because I really enjoyed the taste of coffee, and I've always been a tea drinker as well, but, like, since surgery, since I was cleared, which was a week ago, whenever I had my follow-up, they told me like, "Yeah, you can start incorporating caffeine. You can start having some coffee." And I just haven't cared for it much. And
Mhm.
I mean, I was never one to add like a bunch of sugar, so I know it's not bad. I've been just I would be like a splash of heavy cream or milk or whatever. And I'm just like, this feels weird. I don't like it. Maybe it needs to be ice with like a protein shake in it or something like that. But
Yeah, I've never been a coffee drinker either. I was like a caramel frappuccino girl, like
okay.
cream and caramel,
Yeah.
like a dessert. It had to taste like a dessert for me to drink it. But I've been really loving the Starbucks Doppio. So you tell this is your order. I want a venti Doppio. For
Mhm.
me, I get decaf. I just don't want the caffeine for
Yeah.
because a Doppio means 2 espresso shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't have the caffeine of 2 espresso shots. So I tell them, give me a venti decaf Doppio with easy ice because sometimes
Mhm.
they go crazy with that damn ice at
They sure
Starbucks.
do.
Yep.
I every drink I order is always easy ice.
Yeah. Tell them easy ice and that's it. And then you get it. And I pour in that 11.9 ounce of Fairlife vanilla where they have the caramel.
Mhm.
Or if you want the caffeine, you can have a coffee flavor. I pour my husband, he likes the mocha in it. Because I'm not a chocolate person. But he puts the mocha in his Fairlife. It
Mhm.
tastes like a mocha coffee. Like if you
Frappuccino,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So, but I just pour in my vanilla Fairlife in there and it tastes like a watered down frappuccino, I think. But you have just a hint of coffee flavor because
That's
everything,
honestly
yeah.
that's what got me through my pre-op, like, the liquid diet. I had to do the liquid diet for 4 weeks, for 28 days, and I was
What?
allowed 1 lean green meal per day. So
Oh,
I did a
oh,
protein shakes and applesauce, and then my dinner was my lean green meal, but in the morning, that's what got me through just being able to have that normalcy of having coffee. But, I would get can I would get a triple decaf espresso because I was not allowed to have the caffeine. Triple decaf espresso over ice, easy ice, and that was it. And then I would pour my Premier Protein or my Fairlife or whatever and mix it in, and it just felt like I was drinking an iced latte. It was
yeah. Uh,
that's that's the thing. Everyone does this now. Protein coffee. That's like the thing. And I don't know. I haven't been able to get into it again.
think
Maybe.
I would think you're kind of burned out after 4 weeks. You'd probably rather have one egg, a scrambled egg than a coffee again. I think I'd be burned out. And I can't do it every morning,
Yeah.
but just sometimes, some days I just don't want to eat. Like I don't want to eat. And so I do it when the days that don't really feel hungry, but I make myself drink that because it's easy.
I mean, you kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's the thing too. Like, have you been hungry? That's like a question I get all the time. Do you get hungry?
no. And if I don't eat by, this has really been hard for me because I'm 6 hours ahead of you. So it's
Mhm.
like right now over here, it's
Middle of
2:45
the
in the
night.
morning. Yeah. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. But
Mhm.
if I don't eat by 10 o'clock, I won't eat. Like I'll
Mhm.
forget and I'll get sidetracked and my day's already half gone. So no, I don't get hungry.
And I'm opposite. I mean, like, I look at the time, so I'm supposed to eat every 6 meals a day, every 2 to 3 hours.
Mm.
And usually I'm looking at the time. I have like a little like, okay, it's this time I need to eat. Okay, it's this time like I need to drink. I'm constantly looking at the time because I want to make sure that I'm getting my nutrients in. But if, for instance, actually the last couple of days I've been bad with that. I'm just like, I don't know, I was just busy at work and doing this, doing that. And I get to the point where it's like, all right, it's been 3 hours or 3.5 hours. I'm like, I really should have eaten already. And I feel like the tightness in my stomach, like, excuse me, miss, please put some food in me. And
Yeah.
I get hunger. And I was talking to somebody else yesterday and they asked me, do you get hungry? I'm like, yeah, I get hungry when I'm supposed to get hungry. And that's like questions that other people too. Like this was a VSG person. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, thank God you make me feel normal. She's like, I get hungry and people are telling me that I shouldn't be eating hungry. I'm like, I mean, if your stomach is fully empty, yeah. I mean, I think it's normal to be hungry, whether you have 20% of a stomach or 100% of a stomach.
Well, I think hunger presents itself different. Like, I think
100%.
hunger now is you get a pain in your stomach or I get nauseous.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I know I need to eat. I'm nauseous,
Yeah,
but I
same.
don't get the stomach grumbling, the typical what
I
we
have
had
gotten it,
before.
but I don't get it all the time. I think it
Okay.
depends also what was the last thing in your stomach. Maybe it's not fully
Mm,
emptied out. I don't know. I mean, who knows, right?
it's
It,
different. It's so
it is
weird.
different.
It's
Like,
weird.
so my grandma is the one who always asks me, she's like, do you feel hungry? Like, she's like, just concerned. I don't know what. Every single time I talk to her, do you get hungry? I'm like, yeah, grandma, I
Mhm,
get hungry when I'm supposed to be hungry. Like, I usually eat at my allotted time, so I don't
mhm.
get hungry because I'm being good with it. But if I'm hungry, yeah, I mean, I have to eat. And I think it's just like the understanding the process also for people who aren't
Yeah. My
in this
mom has a
situation.
hard time. She's
Yeah,
like, "Eat, finish eating," and I'm like, "You don't
yeah.
understand. I can only get 3, maybe 4 tiny bites. Like, usually 2 bites, I'm full." I I hate that. Like, sometimes I just leave my food on the table and I'm like, "I'm gonna come back to it. Just leave it there." I
And
wanna
that's
eat it.
that's something I had to ask about was because I do eat like a normal. I mean, my little normal portion is a 4 ounce portion, but I've
Yeah.
asked. I'm like, I sometimes I can have more than 4 ounces of a drink, and I mean, I'm not chugging it or anything by any
Mhm.
means. I'm sipping it, but I can finish it. Or like a Greek yogurt, I'm sitting there eating it over time with my little spoons, and I can fit like that 5.3 ounces. And the way my nutritionist replied was, it's different. Like for food, I definitely would tell you eat your 4 ounces and that's it. Don't go overdo it. And and that's true because with food I do get full and I feel my fullness. I feel like where my esophagus like begins and I'm like, all right, like that's enough food. Like we're good. I can put that to the side. But with liquids are a little bit different. So yeah, you can kind of put that in there because it's easier to like go through your system
Mm.
already. So it's just like it's not abnormal that you can fit a little bit more liquid than the allotted 4 ounces.
I
Like,
think
okay,
it just slides down easier. It's
yeah.
not as like, I can eat nut butter, peanut butter, like, I like cashew butter. I don't like
Mhm.
peanut butter. think cashew butter takes the flavor of whatever it's mixed with.
Okay.
Whereas, I don't know, I can eat
Oh,
cashew butter and just like with a spoon, I could eat like 3 spoonfuls and not
uh-huh.
like there's some foods that just kind of go down easier.
Mhm.
And so your pouch really accepts it well and you can eat, seems like you can eat more of it. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, it's
And
weird.
I think that's the thing. Every single stomach is going to be different. No two pouches are going to be the same size or uh, absorb the same rate. I mean, your body is the way that it's made and the way that it was revised to be. So,
Yeah.
and that's like something that when people ask me for advice, I tell them, like, if you're at the beginning stage of this process, it's going to be different. So don't assume that somebody's journey is going to be your journey because your body may not react the same way. It may react 10 times better. It may have a little bit of an issue. It may like peanut butter or not like peanut butter, or you might react differently to a specific type of protein than other people do, or the way you feel. I mean, I think that's like what we have to put into perspective is that we're just all going to have a different route. And it's not a wrong way of doing things unless you're going and eating junk food every day. I mean, that's in my eyes, like you're messing up exactly what you were trying to fix. But if you're taking your initiative and taking those steps and eating healthy, I mean, everyone's food is going to be different. Everyone's intake is just going to be processed differently. So, like
Yeah,
you
I
said,
agree.
you can't do peanut butter. I'm like, I love peanut butter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And see,
Mm.
for me, almond butter is just, it's kind of gritty. I don't know. My taste buds are really loving cashew butter right now. Like I can take down some cashew butter. I love cashew butter. Have you had anybody in your family who had bariatric surgery? Do you have anybody? Because I don't have anybody in my family that's done it, but I'm just curious.
Not in my family. I do have a friend who is going on 3 years of having it. She's the first person I knew who has had it. And that was like, I mean, it was amazing because I saw her beforehand and I talked to her throughout it and just we discussed it all the time. And when I told her about it, she was so excited for me. Nobody in my family, I feel like this was a very big learning opportunity and experience for my family because my my grandma, I think, initially thought that I went to go get, like, surgery on my stomach, like, literally liposuction or something like that, and my
Mhm.
uncle was under the same impression, like, "No, grandma," and, my friends talks about me the little berry, the little cartoon stuffed animal, it's a plush, and it just kind of shows in 2 different colors, like, this is the one side of the stomach, and this is the part that they removed.
I always
So that
wanted one
little
of those. Where did they get it? I was like, where did people get those? I love that thing.
Amazon.
I know. I need to get it. It's so adorable. It's so cute.
But that has been such an easy way for me to just show. So this is the full stomach. This is where they cut. This is what they took off, and this is what's left. They're like, wow, how much is that? I'm like, that's about 80% of your stomach that they removed. They're like, what? That's insane. That's a lot. I'm like, but that has been the best visual to share to people. Cause I mean, you could pull up pictures, you can kind of pull up the gory ones, you could pick up like the cartoons. But having that little plush, I'm like, "Look, this is how it works," and, like, a little teacher moment. So,
Yeah.
that was really the easiest way to explain, because some people think automatically, like, "Yeah, she went to get plastic surgery done," or I'm like, "Obviously, it's still here, so that's not what I did."
Yeah. No, I didn't even tell my mom. She knew I was going in to fix a hernia.
Okay.
So I didn't even like, she would not understand. She'd be not to how grandmas are. They're just,
That's
I
kinda
don't,
how my mother-in-law was. I mean, it's just automatic worry or concern or why that just not really understanding what the process is.
so
So,
what's your goal number? What's your number that you,
ultimately, I mean, I think my goal number that I've set has been 220, coming from my highest of 389, so 390. And at the start of this journey, I was 372. I mean, that's basically 150 pounds to lose. And I'm a third of it. And it's crazy to say, like, to think about that's like I'm a third of the way through this process and I'm only 3 months into it. So it's
Yeah.
like super amazing. And obviously you're not going to keep losing at the same rate. And there's going to be times where you don't lose at all and whatever. I'm excited for that journey, but if I was 220, I think that was like where my happy weight was when I look back. I've always been a curvy, like I have an hourglass type of figure, but I've always had a butt and I've always had my chest and I might have been pudgy, but I was comfortable and I was like happy at that. So if I can get back to that or close to it, and then even if it's not just like on a scale number, but around that size, I would be happy. So,
Yeah.
but I also don't want to be like, nothing against thin people. I just don't, I've always been that curvy person. So I kind of want to keep my curves,
Mhm.
whether I have to
Yeah.
do 200 squats a day or what I have to do. But I, I like my curves. I love my curves.
Yeah. So what did you I was just had a thought. Oh, one thing that does hit you is the hair loss. Like people would talk about it and I was like, "Eh."
Yeah.
So I've been
When did
using
that hit for you?
I've been using my dietitian before we even had surgery, we had to order patch aids, the patch aid
Okay.
and start using them before we had surgery. And so the only two things that were low on mine still was my ferritin number was really low and my vitamin D. So I've had to supplement those two.
Okay.
But I want to say, God, maybe close to 3 months. I think right around three
Mhm.
months, 2 or 3
And
months.
I've kind of been thinking about it too. I'm like, I haven't lost any yet, but like, how soon is too soon to think about that? Taking
Just,
your vitamins and
there's no way
everything.
of knowing. Some people
Yeah.
don't, but just absolutely take your vitamins. We try to pull up mine, but it's bad. It's
Mm.
like clops of hair. Like this is like all, like you can see through it. That's how you know you don't have a lot of hair when you can see through your hair. Like
And so
there's not a
for
lot of
me, like,
hair.
I have a lot of hair, but it's just thin hair. I mean,
Mm.
like, my hairdresser always like has a field day because there's a lot of it.
Oh, it's
It's
so
just,
beautiful.
thank you. I'm gonna go
Okay,
get
you
it
need to
done.
never wear your hair up again. You look so beautiful with your hair down.
I had nail clients today, so I usually just like to put it away because it's too much for me. But I'm going to get it done on Monday, and I've every time I get it done, I kinda get, like, a purple toner, like, I've been wanting violet hair, and just toner doesn't last long, so I'm doing a direct dye this time, so you're gonna see
Okay.
me gonna have purple hair
It's so
next time.
beautiful. But I was going to
Thank
tell
you.
you, I bought this stuff and I know this works because when I had chemo and I lost all my hair, this is what this iron brings up your ferritin number because you can get your labs. And
Mhm,
if you check your ferritin number, this is going to bring that number up. But here's a picture of it so you can see it. Can you see it?
mhm.
There's kind of like a glare.
Ferrets iron.
Yeah. So it's in a red box. You can get it on Amazon and it's called Ferrets Iron, FERETS,
Mhm,
iron supplement. It's ferrous fumarate, 325 milligrams. I don't know, but that shit works because my number since I started supplementing with this has gone up and the hair loss has slowed down.
that's
So
good.
it's not as bad. Like it's
Mhm,
really slowed down. So I take that every day.
mhm.
But there's a cost to taking iron pills, then you get constipated. All that. So it's like we can
I
never
take
make everybody
Senokot
happy.
I take Senokot religiously, like, every single night,
Yeah.
and I wake up with the beautiful urge to have to poop.
Oh, I need to yeah. I try to drink a coffee. That the coffee helps me. I even just the decaf, it helps. Um, but yeah.
So my
So
friend who had the surgery 3 years ago, she sometimes would go days, like 5 days without using the restroom. I'm like, "That is very unhealthy. Like, your stomach is probably, like, feeling so terrible." She's like, "It's bad." I'm like, "Try this." Like, I mean, I'm new to this process, right? But this seems to do the job. It wa It's a natural herbal supplement. It doesn't
mm,
have any negative side effects. It's gentle. It's not gonna have you make diarrhea or do anything like that. My husband makes fun of me because it's, like, extra gentle or no, it's, like, super gentle, but, like, extra strength. He's like, "How can something be gentle but extra strength?" I'm like,
yeah.
"Well, I'm not pooping my pants, so it feels fine."
Yeah. And another thing I like to do, it's like a sleepy time, gentle
Mhm.
laxative tea. You can get it at Walmart, Target,
Yeah,
anywhere. I think it's called Sleepy Time,
I think so too.
but it helps you go to the bathroom too. It's like really good and it tastes good. It's
My
just a
first
herbal.
purchase yeah, my first purchases, they recommend this, and they have this whole list. And I went to Target and I just bought every single thing, Miralax, Senecot, whatever, everything, those teas, the drinks, the whatever. And I think I have not once taken a Miralax or the teas or anything, just Senecot works for me.
If
And
it
it
works,
seems
girl, if it works, it works. Yeah,
exactly.
use it. Yeah.
And I asked about that. I'm like, "So is this safe to take every day?" I asked my nutritionist and my doctor, and they're like, "If it works for you, just make sure that you're using the washroom. And if you're using it too frequently, skip a day. But you can totally take that every day." Like, the bottle says, like, don't take longer than whatever amount of days. But he's like, "No, you're fine because you need to use the restroom. You need to get that out of you."
I need to go
So,
get that. That's this. I remember I took the Senecot.
mm,
Senecot? Cot?
yeah,
I said
Senecot.
Senec. I said Senecock. It's not Senecot.
But it's
Cot.
fine.
Okay.
Magic. Yes.
It is. Okay. Okay. I need to
I
go
think
to
that's
the
one
gym.
thing that nobody really talks about too is poop. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. It's whenever too much information, I don't really care. Like, you're gonna need to
Girl,
poop.
the struggle is real. If we have advice we can give, like, oh my gosh, give it because we all need it. It's a different journey for everybody. And so
I
it's
think some
tough.
people are just afraid to ask some questions too, and that's a shame. Like, some people don't answer. And for me, that's one thing. It's the people who come on here and they just want to be influencers and whatever. I'm like, more power to you. I mean, if you can like make an extra dollar on the side and do this and that, but then just don't lose your genuine self. Those people are looking up to you and they're genuinely asking you questions and everything. And I understand not everyone can answer every single question, but don't lose your genuine self. Don't start being a different person because you started getting 6,000 followers or 20,000 followers or whatever. This isn't a number game.
No.
Like, we're here
Yeah.
for moral support.
Yeah. And my motto, I need to put that in somewhere, is I don't care if you have one follower or 5,000 followers. If you want to share your journey, I will listen to it and give it a
Exactly.
platform because that's what I try to do. But let me ask you, have you had any issues with dumping or getting sick, or have you dumped yet? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if I've eaten anything that has triggered a dumping. I haven't had it. I have had some loose stool or whatever. I don't know what necessarily would cause that. Maybe dehydration for me. I think for me, it's been a struggle getting enough water in a day. But no, I haven't had that. I've had one experience where, like you were saying, you vomit, etc. But there was just like I just felt like it was in my esophagus, and I'm gonna throw it up, and I just don't want to throw it up. And I just would walk. I ended up like walking around and just walking it off and trying to get it down. And then after my 30 minutes drinking water and just slowly, and I feel like that would almost make me want to throw up some more, but I didn't do it. And I'm lucky I didn't do it. But I don't know if I just maybe ate too fast. whatever the cause was. But I haven't had any dumping syndrome, I don't think. I think in the beginning, maybe because you're just drinking protein shakes and whatever broth, there's not much solid for you to have in your stomach. So it's just coming out in whatever way it wants to come out.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten that yet. And I go right in.
Girl, you
I know, I but you're
God
struggling
bless
a
your
whole different
soul.
way.
God bless you. You're like the amazing I you're blessed because it sucks.
I and
Yeah.
I mean, I genuinely, like, I'm thankful. I'm
Yeah.
thankful that my body has accepted this and not
Mm.
rejected what I put into it or how my stomach is affecting the rest of my anatomy. I mean, and it's pretty soon. I can't speak for the rest of my life, right? But my experience from
But
point
you're
A to
doing
point,
good. You're doing good now. You're doing really good.
and I feel good. And that's
So good.
I
It's
I I
amazing.
genuinely feel sad for people who are experiencing issues, and to hear that from you and to hear that from other people I've talked to, and like, that's rough. It's rough. It's hard.
Well, I think even just to go to the store now, if you see somebody and you go to the store and they're like struggling and they're overweight, I kind of want to, like, I want to stop them and say, hey, I found, because I'm so excited. Like, I know I'm
Yeah.
having a hard time, but I'm still thankful. I want to stop them and say, hey, I found this way. I want to share it with you. But, I can't do that. But I mean, it's just
Are you
like you
calling
want,
me fat?
yeah, it's like you want to tell people and share it. But yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, I want to scream it at the top of my lungs, but I mean, what can you do? People have to be ready. And you know what? Like I said earlier, I looked into it 10 years ago, and I don't genuinely know if I would be ready then the way I am now. I think it's just things you go through and the way that you learn through time and what works for you and what doesn't. And
Mhm.
obviously what caused the situation to begin with. It's different reasons, but I'm ready today in a way that I would definitely not have been ready 10 years ago. But, and I have friends and family members who are overweight and they see my journey and they're supporting my journey. And I ask them, like, and not in a mean way, just, have you ever thought about doing that? And some of them are just like, no, I'm too, like, so scared. And I'm like, and I think the further along this goes, it's like, it's almost proving it to them, like, don't be so scared. It's okay. This is something that people do every day. It's a community that's bigger than you even know. And it definitely was bigger than I know. Never knew this many people had this surgery. It's like,
Mhm.
and to see
Yeah,
that is crazy.
it's a lot. Let me ask you, do you have any advice for anyone who is pre-op or early post-op? Any advice that you aha moments that you had that you want to pass on to someone else?
I think for me, what worked and I've been even praised for at my doctor's office is being organized. Like, I have my little journal or whatever. And I might not use it as much as I did before, but writing down every question you have, like, no question is a stupid question. And this is a new life for you, and you have to know how you're going to live it. So, how is this going to affect you? Some questions that me and my friend Kasha, who's going to be having surgery in a couple months, had. What dumb? Like, when can you have your first drink, or when can you have sex? Right? It's just like so many different questions that don't come up, but you kind of wonder. And I think the biggest piece of advice is to ask those questions and get those answers from your medical professional. Don't look at Instagram as the only way. Like, every person has their own journey and you have to listen to your body. And that's something that I just actually yesterday wrote to somebody who asked me for advice. She's pre-consultation, pre-everything. And it's like, don't get discouraged, but you know, not everyone is going to have that same journey. And you really need to start kind of listening to what your body needs. And after surgery, your body's going to start telling you what it needs and what it wants. And you're going to kind of learn those cues and just take it day by day. And even for people who aren't pre op or aren't even thinking about the surgery, it's, what do you think? How should I start? When do I start? That's like a question I get. And it's like, start today and make one change at a time, a small change that you can do every day. Don't set yourself up for failure. And then in a couple days or a week, add another change and add another change. And that's kind of how you start to live a new lifestyle, right? But I mean, for me, it was just staying organized and asking questions and just getting things done to get there. Because I had all my pre op tests and everything done within, I think, honestly, 2 weeks. And then there was additional stuff they asked me to do. But my doctor said that we can do this as soon as 2 to 3 months, but it depends on you. It's on you for getting things done. And I was lucky enough to not have to do the dietitian visits for 6 months and that kind of stuff. But within 2 weeks, I did every single test they asked me to do. I was able to be lucky enough to schedule my psych evaluation, my EKG, my this, my that, my whatever I needed done. And then I got my upper endoscopy like another week later and just things aligned. And sometimes they align and sometimes they don't, but don't get discouraged for it. So just stay on top of things. Don't let them slip through your fingers. Cause I think that's a lot of us do that. It's just we say tomorrow, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And before you know it, a month goes by, a year goes by, 5 years go by, and you're like, shit, I never did it. You know? And it's never too late to start.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think anybody out there, I think it just in life in general, that's good advice because we all have things that we need to do and we get behind on or we get sidetracked or we put ourselves last. And so that's perfect advice. But thank you for meeting me and chatting with
Thank you
me.
for
And
having me.
I
It's
am
been so
so
nice to meet
excited.
you.
Yeah, you too. And I'll definitely keep track of your journey and I'll post about you. I need you to send me a picture that
Yeah,
is your most loved picture, and I'll use it for the website and for
okay.
the episode. And I'll share your Facebook handle
Okay.
and put that out there. But thank you so
Thank you.
much. I'm
Thank
so
you. So
excited for you. You're doing
I'm excited for
amazing.
you too. I know you have your tech complications, but it's just another step for your journey. I mean,
Yeah, but I've already stepped into the door of inspiration and hope, I think. Because before this, we have no hope. It's it's like this unbeatable
every day, like
disease that we can't fight. We can't lose weight, can't beat it. And so I think I still feel encouraged because I know that it's possible and
yeah.
it's going to be okay now. And I don't feel
And
like a
it's like
victim.
it makes me emotional because it's true. It's like I want to cry right now because it's like the every day that you live and you don't know what to do. You don't know what to change. And you're like, I've tried everything. I've tried every diet. I've tried every fad diet. I've done keto. I've done this. I've done that. And this was like that one thing that is seriously a second chance at life because
Yeah.
you can do it and it's
Mhm.
possible
Yeah.
and it is encouraging and that hope does just get instilled to you and you can pass it along
Yeah.
to everyone else.
So I think anything that we come across now is like, I got this. Like,
Exactly.
I can
100%.
be on a fluid diet. I can be on a soft food diet. I can do this. I can go walk 30 minutes a day. Like that's nothing. Like I can,
Yeah.
like you're so encouraged now. And I think that's what bariatric surgery does. It just gives us a new beginning and a new
You
hope. And it's such a blessing, I think. And I'm
did it.
so happy to be a part of it. Happy that I got to meet you. And I wish you the best. And I'll keep a track of you. And thank you for meeting. And I wish I lived in Chicago because I really have some nail biting problems. I
Coming from the
bite,
nail tech, my nails are not the best. Like I don't have time for
but it was so nice meeting you. Thank you so
it.
much.